Okay, we just going live. Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going live. This is a Women's Day special with Women Inspiring Network and Keels India. As you all know, Women Inspiring Network took shape during lockdown, and I'm really, really glad that all of you could join us today. Shikhi is AVP of Keels India, and I'll just tell you a bit about Women Inspiring Network, which has kept my team really inspired. We've had a 10 million reach, and with collaborative events like IIT, Jai Hind College, Business World, Prem Jain Memorial Trust, film series, award-winning author series, sustainability, and mental health series have done extremely well. We've had women from different walks of life. And as you all know, Keels India started in 1851 from United States, New York City. And we have Shikhi with us, who has 19 years of experience in the corporate world. And since they are our partners, she's going to tell us about her journey as well as Keels India's journey into India. So Shikhi, tell us a bit about yourself, about what you're doing with Keels and some of the leadership lessons.
Great. Thank you so much, Stuti, for twisting it all so well. And welcome all of you to this panel. And we are all enthused, we are all geared up to celebrate our womanhood in the next 4 days. And as Stuti said, that Keels is a brand which comes right from New York, and it has its own DNA, and true to its heritage and its philosophy. We are a very, very strong consumer-centric, customer-centric, with a very strong retail experience. We are very close to everyone's need. And we get into detailing about consumers' need. So a brand which understands its consumer and translates the needs into solution is what Keels is known about. And in India, we have been here for last 10 years. We are celebrated our 10th anniversary last year. And with 14 stores, retail stores in India. And we have our own web store, which was launched mid-COVID last year. So as a brand, we have been, there at the service for our patrons for 10 years in India. I have been with Keels for almost 2 years, and this brand is an adventurous brand related to needs, and I think is a must. I would recommend, and it's so naturally derived ingredients, and it so relates to our day-to-day, you are a skincare beauty. So yeah, this is it, if simply worded.
And we also have other panelists, which is Kanisha Malhotra, who's an actor, Mansi Srivastav, a very big influencer, a TV actor, and I've of course been following her, and Simrita, who's also made her foray into getting beauty brands into India. So Mansi, in your own words, please tell us about your journey. How do you have such a big following? Please throw some light on that.
Well, I think following comes automatically with all the shows that I've done till now. So initially when I started, I also had like 30, 40K, on Instagram when I started. Then slowly when I started doing popular TV shows, I got the following from those TV shows. And then slow and steadily when I started knowing what works on Instagram, what is the kind of content that you should post. So I realized that, I need to level up my content game. So once you level up your content game, your following automatically increases. They connect with what you post. I think it's good if you are yourself on social media. I think the audience wants to see your real side, your humor, your real nature. So it's I try to do that. I try to play with more of my humor and comedy side plus fashion. So yeah, I try to mix up both of them, and that's how I think I have my audience connected with me till now.
And Kanisha, tell us a bit about yourself. You're an actress, filmmaker, now an entrepreneur. So tell us a bit about your journey.
So I started as an actor 7 years ago, and but in 2016 I realized that I have a knack of creating films and writing stories. So that's when I switched behind the camera. And also I started my own production house, which is called Designer Wala Lab Productions. And we've produced almost like 15 short films by now, which are on Amazon Prime, Gemplex, and different OTT platforms. And recently, last year, I started my own, another startup, which is a customized gifting and merchandise store online. It's called Gold Digger. So that's how I got into entrepreneurship and everything. And yeah, influencing keeps happening side by side. So that's about my journey from switch to switch to switch. And I've been trying to do each and everything, juggling between work here and there.
That's interesting. And Simrita, tell us a bit about yourself. I know you're getting beauty brands into India and you're an entrepreneur. So please throw some light on your journey.
Sure. First of all, I'm really excited to be here. Thanks, Stuti, for inviting me. And, like Shiki said, these are, 4 days that we have to celebrate our womanhood and, just feel excited about kind of having this sisterhood and these interactions. I think these are really enriching. So my journey began in Italy 20 years ago when I went there to do my MBA. I just fell in love with the country and the culture and the people. I learned the language in a small little quaint town called Perugia, very close to Rome. And from there, I made my way to the University of Bocconi, did my MBA managing fashion businesses. While I was there, I got a job offer to bring this brand called Ermenegildo Zegna, which is the world leader in luxury men's clothing, to India. And I'm talking about, like I said, 20 years ago when retail hadn't started and luxury brands hadn't started. Louis Vuitton hadn't come into India. So, by default, I became the first luxury goods manager to bring this brand in my suitcase, literally. I got the letterheads in my suitcase. I got floppy drives in my suitcase, etc. So I have sort of been in a startup situation, but with a big brand. Fast forward 5 years from that time, I saw a gap in the Indian market. I just fell in love with Indian fabrics, but I wasn't able to get something to wear on my trips back, for fashion shows for the Zegna fashion shows and Fashion Week. So I created a brand called Golmaal, which was targeted to the Indian woman in the affordable category. It was something you could say like Anita Dongre, but very European silhouettes, very, color blocking, etc., but with Indian fabrics. So silk, jacquards, cotton silks, etc. And, I did this for 10 years, created about 5,000 designs without having any design experience. The day I started, I did not even know the difference between a chiffon and a georgette. Got tired of it, exited the business in 2018 when I saw winds of change on e-commerce. Things were moving very, very fast, very, very quickly on digital. And we had 2 retail stores in Mumbai, one in Bandra, one in Lokhandwala. And, just a little fun fact, Frida Pinto was one of our clients and, and stuff like that. So we had in Lokhandwala, we had, the walls of my store could really tell some very, very interesting anecdotes and stories.
Yeah. And Mansi, now coming back to you, I want to know what are the kind of challenges you face while establishing your career in the TV industry? And I'm going to come back and ask all of you the challenges that you all faced in your career. So tell us, when you started off, what are the kind of challenges you face? Any failures you'd like to throw some light on?
Yeah, a lot of rejections I faced. And initially when I came to Mumbai, first 6 months were like, I didn't know what, I was like, oh my God, what is this Mumbai place? I don't know if I'll be able to stay here or not. But once those 6 months pass, you really start loving Mumbai and the life and how fast it is. And you start loving the struggle, the hustle. So I used to give auditions, like sometimes 4 to 5 auditions every day. And there's this place here in Mumbai called Aram Nagar, Yari Road, where there are studios and people go and give auditions. Right now, everybody is giving self-tests. But 5-6 years back, yeah, they used to go give auditions there, and there have been rejections. Like, if I would tell you, like, out of 100 auditions, there would be maybe 2 or 3 where I would get selected, you know. So in TV also, I've had my own drawbacks. Like, I have faced issues, like, you know, because I have light eyes. So there have been incidents where people just want to offer me negative roles, you know, but I want to do, you know, of course, positive also. But yeah, so there's certain kind of typecast also that you have to face, according to your face, according to your body type, maybe according to your character, how you look. So yeah, but these are, you have to overcome that, you have to face that, and then you have to maybe mold yourself according to those situations and see what best you can make out of it. So I've had my own share of struggles, and I think struggles, or, you know, the hustle keeps going on. Even if you're established, you know, projects keep coming, keep going. It's a part and parcel of life. But it's been a beautiful journey, I would say. Like, if you love your work, if you love what you do, you would not get bored.
Yeah. And Shiki, you've had 19 years of, you know, corporate experience. So any leadership lessons, any obstacles, or any tips for someone starting off in the corporate world, which can inspire our viewers? Please throw some light on that.
I think it's all about, if you decide to do something, just go for it. And that really works. So I grew up in the Northeast, in Shillong and all those days. So for me, it was a paradigm shift from that culture to the, you know, the North India, Delhi culture. So these 20 years in this line, in this, you know, working in the corporate. But yes, it's definitely filled with challenges. There are obstacles. You really have to fight for your own rights and get to that place where you really aspire to be. So it's just this: decide what you have to do and then run for it. And that's the mantra for anyone, for any achiever, to achieve what they decide to do.
Yes, and I did read that, you know, you want to take Keels to newer heights, and your 5 vital parameters of leadership, content development, customer acquisition, sales program, and a vision for the organization. Wow. So Simrita and Kanisha, tell us about the obstacles which you all faced, and any tips for women out there when they're starting out as an entrepreneur, as an actor.
So,
yeah. Okay. No, go ahead.
It's okay, I insist.
Okay. So I was going to say that when I started my career with, you know, in Italy, in fashion, especially in, you know, luxury fashion, and sort of kind of cutting it in the mecca of fashion, I think as a woman, even if you have a good education or you are prepared, one has to sort of work doubly hard to really be taken seriously. And I think it's, you know, especially in the first 5 years of corporate life, or for, you know, just when you're fresh and getting your scars and getting your experience, that was my most challenging time. You know, after that, the more wins I had, the more experience I had. Of course, I had a voice on the table and a seat on the table, right? But in the beginning, I do remember that there were times when it was me and another, you know, a retail manager. But as a woman, my boss would always ask me to make the dinner reservations for the team. You know, always. I mean, I don't mind doing it once, but then, you know, the other person who's, you know, can also do it. Why should I be sort of, you know? So I faced these things in the first couple of years, but you just kind of, and I think everyone would do that. You know, it still exists. And I've lived in various countries and worked in various countries. This is not a phenomenon just in India or Italy. It also exists in the US. So that's one of my sort of, you know, takeaways that I would like to tell youngsters who are joining the corporate life. Just hang in there, just decide that you have to do it, and then, you know,
take it forward.
Weather it.
Yeah, Kanisha, your thoughts?
So for me, to come from Delhi to Mumbai was one of the biggest challenges because everybody had told my family that, you know, film industry is bad. And a girl going from your home to, you know, act in films is like not good. So I had to literally fight it off. I was a rebel. I came here. My parents didn't talk to me for like good 2 months, but then later on they were okay with it. So as Mansi just told all of us that she had that struggle, used to go to Aram Nagar. With me also, I had an issue. I'm quite tall. I'm almost 5'9". So the guys are in TV industry are 5'9", 5'7", 5'8". I always had an issue. I was replaced twice in a TV show just because the guy was shorter than me, or I was looking older than him. Because it's a, you know, it's a patriarchal society, and it's a male dominating industry. So obviously a woman has to be replaced because, of course, lead will not be replaced. Why? Because you are the female. So anyways, that happened. And later I realized that, you know what, this industry, this is tough. I need to have something else because I have a creative mind. I always wanted to keep it going. So I started making films. There also I had a very big issue that they used to take female filmmakers as an eye candy, most of it. Like they will not see that you are talented. Now things are much better, but this is like 5-6 years back when I started. People used to tell me, you know what, they are taking you because you're a good looking female, not because you're talented. So that has been a very big struggle for me as a filmmaker. But now things are much better. There are better filmmakers, there are good female filmmakers and everything. Things have been better. As an entrepreneur, if I talk about, you know, again, it's a male dominating industry. So there have been people who've been trying to tell me that, you know what, we'll help you in this, we'll help you in that. Why don't you give a stake in your company? So these are mostly men who try to see that, okay, she's a female. So why not try to break her? Because, you know, somewhat in a way, she will give us a stake and everything. But it's my baby. I don't want to give it to you. So there have been struggles in each and every industry for a female, especially. Yeah. And when it comes to giving some, like, if I have to tell something to somebody, I would just want to say, keep hustling and do what you want to do. Don't worry about people. One day, eventually, you will get it. And if you won't get it, then you will at least find out what you want to do.
And coming back to you, Shiki, what is the change have you seen in the beauty industry, especially post-pandemic? Like I can tell you for the Women Inspiring Network, you know, we've actually, the entire platform is based digitally on social media. And of course, we have Mansi, who's an influencer, and Kanisha with huge followings. So my thought was, where have you seen the changes in the beauty landscape and how has it moved digitally? And then, of course, I'm going to ask you all the importance of being digitally inclined and what you're all doing, so you all can think about it. But yeah, Shiki?
Yeah, so so there was some connection error, but still, what I heard of you, that you wanted to understand how the
beauty landscape and how the move digitally has been, and, you know, where do you see it evolving from now?
Yeah. So if we go back 20 years back, Stuti, you know, it was just an era of, you know, beauty was in terms of skincare. There was nothing called a skincare routine then, way back then. So over a period of time, it has been, you know, with brands coming in, with a lot of competition, with a lot of education around beauty. And beauty itself is not solely about looking beautiful. It's about having a healthy skin. So a lot of education has got into having the right ingredients into your product. And there has been, you know, having ingredients and applying ingredients. So the topical application of ingredients along with what you intake, it's a combination of both which leads to a healthy skin. And with time, with this education happening around this, and when each of us, all of us actually have understood this concept really, really well, that there has to be complete wholesome routine to skincare and beauty regime. Yeah. So what it was 20 years back, what it was 10 years back, it has really, really evolved. And people have actually now we look at a healthy skin rather than a beautiful skin, because healthy skin translates into beautiful skin rather than having a beautiful skin and not a healthy skin. So we all look out for a healthier skin options and a sustainable skin which lives long and and has more, and gives a healthy finish and healthy glow and healthy radiance is what we all look for. So that's how it has been amplified both digitally and all the all brands coming in, pouring in. And this is the food, this is the thought that all, all people that we work closely with, all our advocates with fields that we all have been emphasizing on the fact of having healthy skin, using, while using the right set of ingredients into your skin. So typically
I would have to ask Mansi, what's your beauty regime and what do you think, being a healthy skin, and you have such a huge following. So tell us a bit more about your thoughts on that.
So I totally agree with what Shiki said, that we need to have healthy skin. See, 20 years back, we didn't apply so much makeup. Everybody was like natural. These days, it's a good thing, like if someone wants to apply makeup, they should. But there are so many products, there are so many brands, there are so many makeup brands, then there are so many products for skin, that we really need to know that what is good for our skin, which is actually making our skin healthy and not making our skin look dull. So we really need to be aware of our own skin and need to judge like what is good for our skin, because we are applying so many makeup products in a day. Like, I think I have been applying makeup for last 12 years. And of course, when I remove makeup, my skin is really dull. And I want to know what is good for my skin, what product is genuine for my skin. I don't want to use a product. I don't want to waste my money on a product which is not helping my skin. So I think a skin awareness is really needed, because every second video that we see on the internet, on Instagram, is of beauty, of makeup. So it's very easy to get influenced by those videos that, this product is good, this product is good. But so genuine awareness of your own skin, but that will come if you try the products. And I too love Kiehl's products. So I'll what to say.
Your thoughts, Simrita, like how the beauty industries move digitally, and Kanisha, how do you take care of your skin?
Yeah, so I love your the Kiehl's Midnight Rejuvenate
face wash also.
It's my holy grail. I have it on my my shelf all the time. And I was introduced to it by one of your colleagues at the group, the head of Kiehl's, over dinner, and I was sold. I haven't left it ever since. But being part of the beauty industry as well, since the last 3 years, my company is instrumental in launching a bunch of beauty as well as skincare brands in the country. We've recently launched Murad Skincare in November, and tomorrow we're launching Mario Badescu Skincare as well on Nykaa. So do look out for these two skincare brands. I think because of COVID, we do have more time, right? And we are sort of digitally influenced and watching all the, YouTube videos and Instagram posts. I mean, I sometimes spend almost like 2 hours on Instagram. It's a rabbit hole.
Scrolling.
Yeah, exactly, right?
We all do.
Yes, and the industry has seen an uptick in sales because, women are investing a lot more in skincare. We are buying a lot of hair care products as well as skincare products. Maybe not that much of beauty products because, now we've been sort of hunkered down for 12 months almost. But a lot of people, they still, want to feel dressed at home, and makeup is a part of just like wearing a t-shirt. You just kind of put in, whatever, your kajal and your lipstick as well. So in a nutshell, yes, there has been we haven't seen a slowdown in the industry for sure. So I think that's from the industry perspective, it's great. And even from a digital e-commerce sales perspective as well, I think India and China have really sort of come back to pre-COVID levels in terms of sales.
Tanisha, your thoughts?
So when I talk about my regime, I had like bad skin like a year ago. I used to have great skin, but because of the pandemic and everything, I think all of us stopped just taking care of our skin because we thought we are inside our houses. People were not putting sunscreen and everything. So I have realized that apart from products like beauty products, it's important to use organic and homemade products, like homemade things like from our kitchen to take care of our skin. And I do that every once in a week, and touch wood, my skin has become better. So when I talk about my regime, apart from that, when we talk about how the industry has shaped, yes, I agree with Samrita that it has come much more on the platforms like in Instagram and Facebook, because everybody is sitting at home and now everything is online. Instead of people going out and buying, everybody's shopping online. So even in influencing industry, we've seen that it has become better, because more and more brands and things that they want to sell products online. So it has been good for us also, touch wood. So due to the pandemic,
we've all seen that evolving in the pandemic, and the world has moved digitally.
It has changed.
Yes. And for a community like ours, we've got great content, speaking to all of you, getting your inspirational stories, your journey, where we keep getting emails from everyone, from most of the women in small towns and cities, telling us how they were inspired by the journey. And, that has been an inspiration for us. So I'm so glad that we all had the opportunity to share this together. I'm just going to throw open one question. So one moment in your life when you all felt your journey has been worth it. Anyone can go first.
Your journey has been worth it.
Worth it. Like you've enjoyed the moment and you're really, really happy. Or anything which you're really happy what you've done in your journey, or inspired, anything?
For me, it has been very recent. I started influencing 2 years back, and I didn't know how it's going to go, but I've seen so much growth in just 2 years. I've worked with more than 200 brands, and each day feels great for me. And I recently won my first award as an influencer. So that has been a great moment for me. So
nice.
I think the same for me as well. This moment in time, I started my company 3 years ago, and now I'm seeing, the results of the first 2-3 years of hard work. Initially, you just are kind of putting in 80 to 100 hours, and the results take time. And now when I open my inbox and I'm seeing, so much of activity going on, and there used to be a time when I would be excited by just getting one email in my mailbox. It was only 3 years ago. So I think I'm enjoying this moment in time as well.
Mansi, Shiki.
I think I'm inspired by both of them talking about their journeys, and I think I still have to experience that worth it moment. I'm still not satisfied. I need to post more good content and make more videos and talk more about all the good stuff. I think I'm still waiting for that worth it moment.
For me, I think for every woman comes as a new surprise, and we as working moms, the moment of being a mom, the moment of being we have so many phases to our life. A working mom, a working wife, who manages work and home both. So every moment has its own story to it, and a delight to it. Mm-hmm. And I will not have one single moment I should cherish this. Every time, I think I just love my every moment of living this life is a moment worth cherishing, and I would love to continue the same phase all along.
Yeah, and I realize that during the pandemic, we all took a break, and we all reset ourselves, re-looked at things. So tell us one thing during the pandemic which kept you all positive and inspired. Anyone can go first.
Actually, for me, pandemic taught a lot of lessons. Working from home was a new concept which came in our life, and with uncertainty of what's going to happen next, to the retail business or where we are, or, you know, with the schools closing down, how do you manage your kids? You know, there's so much of the learning that we got, so much of, you know, learning as a woman we had during the pandemic.
Yeah, resilience.
Yeah. And a lot of resilience that we developed during the pandemic. And I think that's a strong learning all of us had through this COVID. And although it had its flip side, it had its positive too. It has made us more strong and more forthcoming to handle such situations. And now these challenge, which was then a challenge, doesn't seem a challenge for us. I think we are now more empowered to handle situations, even far more tough, far more difficult situations in years to come, and we are well equipped with it. We had overnight digital, you know, enhancement in our workplaces. People who never knew how to, you know, be digitally connected through Skype, through Zoom. Zoom has become a fashion these days. All these, conversation networks have become a fashion, and the utility, and we all use it on a day-to-day basis now. So it has made our life easier, yet given a new dimension to way of working.
Yes.
I think,
Kanisha?
Yeah, so for me, it was more that I realized that how important my family is, because I was away from my family for the whole pandemic. So to realize that nothing else matters. If you have the house and your family is safe, nothing else mattered for me. And secondly, I got a lot of time for myself to think, to re-go on things, what I want to do in life, what I can do in life. And I created great content. So that was great for me. And I realized that as Shiki said, that we are utilizing things. So I realized that to make a film or to create some content, you don't need big set or you don't need bigger things. So we've realized that with time, and that's the biggest reset I would say happened in my life.
Simrita,
for me, I have had a very challenging year. I had a bunch of people who are close to me who had COVID, actually. And so I saw a lot of ill health during this time. And in order to really get strength, I expanded a lot spiritually with my spiritual practice. You know, so I have, now it is literally ironclad spiritual practice. Otherwise it was like, you know, you kind of do it some days and then you don't. I mean, even meditation, I really was struggling with meditation prior to this, but now I see the benefits of meditation. There's just 5 minutes of pranayama breathing, and I have that ironclad routine. And I think without it, it would have been, I mean, the challenges which came my way probably would have been pretty much sort of would have left me in a very, very different mental state. The reason why I have that positivity and I've come out on the other side is because of that. And then, you know, from the other side as well, I think just understanding what the priorities are, you know, spending that time of not being busy, like having a proper conversation with parents and having that time and having the empathy and being kind. And I think this time has also distilled who our real friends are. You know, I have this one friend, Stefano, who I was not in touch with for four years. All of a sudden, every single day in the initial, I was getting a message. How are you? Just people you don't expect turn out to be such great friends, you know? So I think this has really kind of firmed up that stability with the friends and family. And
Mansi, your thoughts?
I've also had a similar experience. First 4 months of pandemic went very nice, very smoothly. And then I think the 4th month, my mom got sick. Wasn't because of COVID, but then it was some liver infection. So there we got a health check, you know, reality check for our health, our immunity. Then I got COVID. Then my dad got COVID. He was hospitalized. So we really got a big time health check for our immunity. Like we were eating, but we were not eating right. You know, so I realized how important it is to eat right and just not just hog on to all the junk or anything. Also, you really need to learn.
And also, you know, how fitness and doing, you know, going back and doing some of the breathing exercises,
pranayama,
meditation.
started that also.
So now we've come to the end of our session, and I have one last question for all of you, and that's a winning message to inspire our viewers. So I'll start with you, Shiki. Any winning message to inspire our young viewers across the country, especially on the Women's Day coming up?
Yeah, so for me, I would say that nothing makes a woman more beautiful than the belief that you are beautiful as a person. You are beautiful. So beauty is all in the heart. It's an old saying which goes, and I think this is what needs to be translated into our day-to-day life. It's all about how you feel as a person, how beautiful you are inside, and this is what will translate onto your skin, on your face, and that is how your happiness and the beauty quotient will rise high. So it's how you feel inside, and you have to be a beautiful person, which should reflect on your face too.
Wow. Simrita?
I would want to urge all the young women to always be financially independent. You know, you can have a wealthy spouse, you could have whatever, wonderful cushion and comfort and blanket, whatever you want to call it. But I feel that, having an independent stream of income or an independent bank account really gives women that financial freedom that they may not realize if they're just 19 or 20 right now. So anyone who in that age bracket or in their 20s listening, that's what I would want to share with them.
Kanisha?
So I would want to say that self-love is the biggest thing. I mean, you don't have to wait for anybody to love you. So this Women's Day, go out and pamper yourself. Celebrate it the way you want. I'm going to do that. I have a day planned for myself, what I'm going to do. I'm taking off from work and I'm going to pamper myself, go get a haircut, and don't wait up for somebody to love you. You are complete in yourself.
Mansi?
Well, I love the advice she gave. Be financially independent to all the women, to all the girls. Then I would like to tell you all that don't let anyone belittle you by saying that you're fat, you're chubby, you're dark, you look like this, you look like that. No, don't let anybody's opinion hamper your mind, stress your mind. And if you're facing any kind of toxic thing from your friends also, relationship to hai, in case you're facing a toxic relationship, please come out of it. There's a beautiful world outside your bad relationships, which you need to be brave and come out and see the beautiful world. So yeah, if there's anyone spreading negativity in your life or any kind of toxic behavior, please cut those people out and think for yourself. And of course, self-love is important, as Kanisha said.
Yeah, what a lovely message. I would like to say we all should pursue our dreams. I have a dream.
Dreams.
And follow our passions and dreams. But thank you all so much for joining us. And this was a collaborative event between the Women Inspiring Network and Kiehl's India. And thank you, Shiki, for collaborating with us for this event. And it was really, really great to have you, Kanisha, Mansi, Simrita, Shiki. And I really, really enjoyed our conversation. And I'm sure we've all inspired a lot of people out there. So thank you so much and happy Women's Day, everybody.
Happy Women's Day.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Happy Women's Day.